Hi, welcome this week to the Forward Podcast. This is your host, Carrie.
And I'm your co-host, Thomas Shepard. And
Welcome,
once
welcome.
again, we are diving into some pretty interesting topics.
Kind of fun topics.
They really are. They're fun in a sense that we're learning together, and then others are taking this incredible journey with us of strengthening their marriage and their Christian life, and then others that are exploring God and religion. And so kind of all comes to head on the Forward Podcast.
And also in the sense of like, this is what our culture is going through right now.
It
So
yes.
like a lot of these discussions about, gender and equality and roles and all of that is so interesting to dive into and discuss, especially as our kids are growing up. So it's fun for me to go through it
Sorry,
right
I'm
now.
trying to figure out your. I felt like when we tested, your mic sounded good. Do you feel
No.
like you're loud now, or that I'm loud?
No, I don't.
Check test. Let's redo a test. Keep talking.
Does it sound loud? Maybe
No,
a little.
it did.
Well, I had my mic back here and then you pushed it forward.
Well, honey,
So
I
I
read
feel like
on
I had it right.
how to start a podcast.com that you're supposed to have your mic right in front of your face.
It was.
I feel like we were set, and then when you started talking, it felt really loud.
I have
And
a booming voice.
And I want to be heard. Like, I want people to say.
Put your mic further up there.
I turned it up. I think we're okay. Just keep talking, and
Okay.
I'll keep testing it.
Yeah. Well, I was done. I was just saying it's. I don't have anything
we're
left
done?
to say.
Well, okay.
That wraps it
I
up.
hope y'all enjoyed it. We figured out genders tonight, and it was.
That's
it was
about
good.
how long it should take, honestly. It shouldn't be
It
this
should,
complicated.
because there's only one person who really can figure out genders. And it's not me or you, it's just God.
Oh, I was like, who is this person?
Did you think I was going to say me?
No, I thought you were going to say Matt Walsh because he did that whole.
Oh, my word.
He did that
Matt
whole
Walsh.
video,
No.
that movie or whatever it was.
I never even watched that. So
You didn't?
No. What is a woman?
I bought the subscription to the Daily Wire just so I
Yes.
could watch it, and then I forgot to cancel. So I paid for the Daily Wire for like 6 months and didn't even know it.
I knew it.
And then you were like, "Can I please cancel the subscription to
I
the
know.
Daily Wire that you never use?"
There's quite a few. This is maybe a good way to go into genders tonight, talking
No,
about
I'm not
how
helping
many
mine.
subscriptions. I think women are like, oh, you know what? We need a subscription for this. And we get, 24 hours free. So I'll just cancel it within 24 hours. And then I don't feel like y'all do.
I feel
often.
like you're attacking my gender for this, but you actually have a leg to stand on because
that's
I
right.
do that. Do you know the one subscription you have maintained and kept for like probably 2 years now? What is
Prime?
it?
I have no idea.
No. The subscription you signed up for and you make sure it gets delivered to our house. What is it?
Melatonin.
Melatonin.
Hey,
The
let me tell y'all.
sleepy pill for the
look,
children.
When you have
Let-
5
you know.
kids, then y'all can judge me, okay? But
I
when
know.
it's school nights and
He
everybody's
is faithful.
hyped up on candy and sugar, melatonin is the go-to.
Also, let me say, when you have kids in sports and you spend 3 or 4 nights a week on the soccer field or at the gym, we're eating
Right.
dinner at the concession stand. Like
All
my kids eat
the time.
a pretzel and a root beer for dinner. This is shameful. And we get home and I'm like, has anyone had protein today?
Oh,
Anybody?
the,
Anybody?
the ladies in the gym, I forgot to tell you this, were laughing so hard the other day. I saw them listening to our conversation, and you were like, London Nora Rose, here's money, but you cannot get candy.
I said no sugar.
You either get nachos or pretzels.
I said not just pretzels or a hot dog. As if those are the healthiest
Right.
options.
That's like, oh, no candy, but
Gosh.
you can get pretzels or a hot dog, which is probably a cheap hot dog. That was so funny. I glanced over, and all these other moms, I think they knew what we were going
They
through,
knew.
but they were cracking up.
And it was like a month ago I said that, and London comes back with the cinnamon pretzel. It's the cinnamon sugar on top of the pretzel.
Oh,
And I'm like, what did I just say? And she goes, does this have sugar on it? I'm like, it's called a cinnamon sugar pretzel.
And that probably has the most because they sprinkle a ton of it on there.
Help me, Lord. I try, y'all. I try
Yeah.
so hard.
Sorry, I feel like
I'm loud again?
yeah, I do.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Why don't I go back
No,
here?
no. I think we keep talking. And
Are your
when we go
ears
back and
sensitive
just
tonight?
yeah, maybe somebody out there's talking about me. And that we used to say
Your
your
ears
ears
are
are burning.
tingling?
Tingle? No.
Burning? I thought it was tingling. Anyways. Ears
I
are
think it's
burning.
I don't think it's tingling. I think
Something
it's
with the
well,
ears.
your ears must have been burning. Yeah, that's it. It's your ears.
Who did you just quote right there?
Oh, you don't even want to know.
Was that your mom?
My mom doesn't talk about me. What are you talking about?
No, the way you said it
Oh,
with the accent and everything.
sorry, mom.
I know.
No. Well, let's jump into this, Kara. So
Yeah, let's
last
do.
week we were talking about, hey, there's genders. We kind of defined it, and if you're jumping into the second episode, maybe go back and the last episode was not really super long, and so jump back in, listen to that, then you can kind of get caught up. You'll have a foundation. We've definitely laid the foundation of God has created male and he's created female.
Mm-hmm.
And there are things that males are great at and females are great at, and being okay with that. But then also not falling into this temptation that so many do, and that is stereotyping, thinking that whether it's husband, wife, male, female, that it's a one size fits all.
Right.
And so that's kind of where we left off. Tonight we're going to get maybe just a little bit deeper and kind of also talk a little bit about marriage as well. So I say this about every episode. I don't feel like I need to, but let me just say, even if you are a college student or teenager, and we have a lot of you that tune in, a lot of you that ask questions, don't turn this off like, oh, I'm not married, or I'm not even dating right now. This is still great for you to learn this communication.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, as Carrie often does, it leans into being okay with who you are. But we all must be in the mode constantly of trying to grow in Christ, grow in your personal strength, grow in who you are. And so that's kind of where we're diving in tonight. So, Carrie, why don't you kind of jump off tonight and jump off? Why don't you start us off tonight? Why don't you go jump off a cliff and then I just say, why don't you jump off? Why don't you take all your gender and just go jump off a cliff?
Take all your subscriptions and go.
Do you know how much money we could save? You just jump off a cliff right now.
Gosh.
I don't know. Why don't you start us off?
It's got dark.
For real. If you're depressed tonight, it's not a good episode to listen to.
Please see episode on encouragement.
Joy. Go back and listen to Joy. Happiness.
Okay, here I go.
All right, woman, do it.
Into the deep end. All right, so we took some notes on how personality can affect how your gender roles are expressed. And this really kind of hit home to me because we see so much living in the Midwest, and we've kind of discussed this before. I grew up in Ohio. So we see how in a lot of cultures, the men are the more like stoic, deep thinking, quiet types, and the women are kind of the louder extroverts. So in our culture now, I mean, there's so much out there about extroverts and introverts. It's actually almost overdone, I feel.
Do you think
I'm a little tired of hearing about it. Like,
But it might be just the algorithm you're in, because I'm kind of interested in what you want to say or you're going to say. So go for it.
Pressure's on.
Yes.
Yeah, but we hear a lot about that, and you can. I mean, if you want to Google like, what's my personality type? I mean, that's a rabbit hole. You can be down for like days and days. Yeah.
Right.
But it does ring true in how gender is expressed, because there are a lot of men who are not big talkers. They're not extroverts. And the woman can kind of come off looking, I mean, you hear people say it a lot, like bossy or domineering or something like that, when really I don't like how we've kind of pigeonholed that to genders, because many times it's like, well, she might not be bossy or domineering. She's just an extrovert. She likes to talk, and she's, very social and outgoing and all these things. And I do find that there are certain cultures where men are quieter, and where they're deeper. And so the woman kind of gets thrown under the bus for being the more extrovert. And maybe it looks like she's trying to be or is naturally more masculine when that shouldn't be, in my opinion, assigned to gender.
Yeah.
I don't feel like introverts or extroverts should be assigned to gender. God created us all with different personalities, and personalities should be, their goal should be to reflect God in the way that he created you. If you're outgoing, if you're a talker, we need you on Sunday mornings greeting visitors. Like, help us out, man or woman, it doesn't matter. Like, we can use you. So I think a lot of the times, in speaking of gender, if you see this, like, you see this man that's really quiet and you might automatically assume, oh, wow, he's, to use some old fashioned phrases, henpecked, or he's a mousy little man or something like that. But he might just be a very deep thinker, a quiet person. Why are you laughing at me? Because I said mousy.
I have never. He said it might be a mousy little man. I swear, if anyone has ever said that I'm a mousy little man, I give up. Surely not.
You just told me to jump off a cliff, so I can say mousy little man.
Have you ever called me a little mousy little man?
No.
Okay.
You're
Well, praise
neither
the Lord.
mousy nor little. Some people might say that about a man.
See these muscles right here? That's right, woman.
It's not about the stature, even. Like, just someone's personality can make them seem smaller. Like, they're very quiet and like they're very soft spoken.
Right. I see what you're saying.
And it's
just not
like
a lion,
mousy.
It's a mouse. Yes.
Right.
I'd rather be a lion.
But I'm saying that in a positive way. Like, sometimes we assume because a man might not be boisterous or loud that he's, more feminine.
Right.
But really, I mean, God makes all different kinds of people. And so, and I told you I was going to use this illustration of my grandparents. They're both gone now. They passed on. But my grandmother was such an extrovert. She would speak to anyone and everyone. If you went out with my grandma to the store, like, you were meeting at least 3 or 4 strangers. She just spoke to everyone. She was the friendliest person. Are you messing with my volume
no, ma'am,
again?
Go for it.
I see you over there. And so, and my grandfather was the exact opposite. He was so quiet. He didn't really like to interact with people. He was just very, just quiet. But they were both so godly.
Yeah, it's good.
In their own way.
Right.
My grandma was always teaching a class, decorating a room for this, hosting an event for that. And my grandfather was never at the forefront. But I am telling you, he was just as godly. He was just as spiritual. He was a deep, deep person. Mm-hmm. But he was not comfortable expressing that in any way. And the cute thing is, she did it for him. Yeah. I mean, he would have all these ideas. We need to take groceries to so-and-so. And she would make that happen. Mm-hmm. We should do this for that person. And they would go together. Now, he would not go up and make a big speech and do, but he knew that that was her strength. Mm-hmm. And so, just a neat example of, like, personalities might be different, but we should be careful as Christians not to take one personality set and apply it. Well, this should be your gender's personality, because I don't think that's biblically correct.
No, you're talking about personality influences how roles are expressed.
Yes.
And I think in every couple, once again, we dive back into there are going to be differences. Mm-hmm. And where we go wrong is falling into this temptation of putting everyone in the same box, putting everyone in the same mold. And that does not always happen. Even when it comes, Carrie, so many times we've talked about leadership styles in the home. Yeah. Because if we're not careful, once again, we take male and female and we push everybody into this one mold. But some husbands, they're strong, they're decisive leaders, and then there's others that they're kind of a gentle persuasion, or they're more of a quiet example. Yes, both of them are leaders in their home, but their roles are going to be expressed based on their personalities. Sometimes the way they were brought up, or the way that even God created them. And the same thing is true with wives. Many might be more vocal in their guidance or their support, while others are do it more through nurturing and hospitality. Yeah. It's not that one is right and one is wrong. It just is recognizing in a relationship, hey, we have roles that are different, but we can't put them all in a box. And a leader has to be narcissistic and got to be right on it. And everybody's under my rule of thumb. Yeah, it might be, actually kind of more of a backseat and a loving and a gentle and a guiding and a follow my example. And to be honest, it's just it's looking at male and it's looking at female. It's looking at husband and wife and realizing, once again, not one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
And when you try to make that happen, you're actually very miserable because you become very comparative,
Mm-hmm.
and or you're mad that everybody's not doing it the way that you want it to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And it just doesn't work that way. And so you can save yourself a lot of hassle, and you can save yourself a lot of mental energy that is being expelled and thinking that, hey, everybody has to do it just like us.
Yeah.
But that's not the way that God created us at all.
That's exactly right. And I think, a huge benefit to your spouse is to support their personality, to love them. I mean, you married them, and we're specifically talking about marriage right now, but, if you picked someone, yes, we can help each other grow.
Yeah.
But there are certain things like, I'm never going to be a quiet, just put me, in the corner of a room by myself person. I'm never going to be that. Now, there are things I need to grow in, and you support me in making sure that, we reach everybody, and that, we're not just talking to this person or that person, and we support and help each other in our personalities, but we accept the basic framework of our personalities.
Yeah.
And we're actually both kind of extroverts, so we don't really have an introvert in this house. We didn't get one of those.
Which some people would say is not a good thing. I mean, everyone always says, you marry the opposite.
I'm sure they have said that at some point.
I hope people are not disappointed in us. Like,
I don't know.
Hey, we are who we are. But I still think we make an incredible team.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to support your family within their personalities. And, if you have a boy that's more quiet and more shy and more, artsy and things like that, support that and love him through that. Teach him the basic frameworks of being a man. Yes, absolutely. But use his personality to glorify God, because that is truly, I mean, there's just some ways like that's just how God made us.
Right. It's once again not falling into the trap of what the world has set, and that is, hey, you've got a son, he leans a little bit more artsy, and so you totally jump ship of, oh, little Johnny wants to be Susie, and so we have to let him have that choice. It's not at all. Lean into those strengths, but in the meantime, show him masculinity, show him what leadership is, but then also playing into those strengths of maybe God is going to use that artsy side in a great way one day.
Yes.
Same is true with, we used to call them tomboys?
Yeah.
When a girl would kind of lean towards like the sporty type, or, climbing trees and hanging out with the dudes. You should just call them a tomboy. Nowadays, once again, because we've tried to define gender roles as what we want to just define it as, we leave God out of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like, well, they're 4 years old and they threw a baseball very well, so they want to be a man, and so let's start with the hormone pills and all this nonsense that once again takes place.
The extremism.
Right, but that's Satan. Satan always wants to jump to the extreme. He always wants us not to view it in God's eyes, this perfect, well done system that works. He always drives towards, let's mark up, let's mar, let's hurt, let's define outside the context of what God has already defined it for us as.
Exactly. And I think to remember as parents that don't let the world tell you if your kid is acting a certain way, oh, they're probably, going to transition, or they're confused about their gender. That nonsense is such garbage. That is just not true. I was a girl that loved the woods. I shot guns and went hunting with my dad. I was, I loved like digging for bugs and chasing rabbits, and we lived in the country. I loved doing all that outdoor stuff. I know you're about to laugh. I still like it. See?
I'm sorry.
You make fun of me.
I'm a little bit I'm not making fun of you.
Why are you laughing?
Did you really dig bugs?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
You never did that. You lived in North Carolina. You never dug bugs up, worms and all that? To go fishing?
To go fishing. I think Dad actually just bought them from the store.
Oh my gosh. This is sad.
But yes, anyways, go on. So you were kind
I
of a
don't even know what I was
tomboy.
going
You
to
had the
say now.
tomboy side of you,
Yeah.
but your parents never.
Well, it was fine. It was okay.
Right.
Like it
Right.
was okay. My brother loved music. He loved to sing. He still loves to sing. And we would stand around the piano many nights practicing music and singing. And it was never treated as like, oh, brother, this guy likes to sing, that's so girl. It was just like
Right. Right.
whatever we wanted to do was accepted and promoted within our gender that use it to glorify the Lord. And I think that's so important. I mean, we've even had, I had I can say this because none of them are down here, but we had a child that was kind of, about a year ago going into wanting to do everything opposite than her sister. Well, her sister's
Okay.
very girly. So she wanted to do everything that was not that. And I think the world would have pushed me toward, oh my goodness, she's confused about her gender. She likes boy things. She likes this. But that's not intimidating to me. That
Right.
doesn't bother me.
Right.
So what did I do? Okay, your favorite colors are blue and black. Guess what my new favorite colors are? Blue and black.
Right.
And I'm very girly. So I took everything that she liked and I liked it too. And so it went from using that stage of I like everything, quote unquote traditional boys like as a rebellious thing to where I used it as a connection point with her. And it was like, oh, our favorite color is blue. I like blue too. I ordered a blue, Stanley cup and I started buying blue shirts. And like it was just, she then saw those things as, traditionally boy, as now her mom and her, it was our connection point. Like, oh, all the other girls like pink and purple. We really like blue. And, we would go out and I bought her an eyeshadow palette with blue eyeshadow. Like we just had fun with it.
Yeah.
And that faded away. That rebel spirit faded away. Now she still likes blue and actually I do too. But the point is that we didn't panic.
Right.
And say like, oh my word. And it's not just the color blue. That's just an easy experiment or an easy example. But it was more things than that. But all of those things she meant as rebellion toward a sibling, I took and made it a connection point between her and I. And in love, we grew to like the same things together. And so the rebellion just faded away.
And I feel sometimes, Carrie, I think we have lost out on common sense.
Yes.
Like there's some that are
Yes.
listening. It's like, okay, this is so elemental. Then there's others that this is like a light bulb going off of, oh, I didn't think about that, because we are being inundated and influenced so much by the world nowadays and by social media that this is what we're running to even in the Christian realm. But it is just some common sense of not, once again, making rash decisions or running to, well, she's leaning this way, so this must be it. No, just, okay, let's take a step back. Let's think through. With my parents, and this is, 30 years ago now, more than 30 years ago, you had 7 sisters. And I've told this, Carrie, often at couples conferences, but I remember my dad specifically walking in, and I was just playing Barbies with all my sisters. Well, it was Talisa and Tress and Tamara at that point, and so we're just all in there. And I remember I wasn't embarrassed. I wasn't like, oh my word, there's my dad. It was, we played. We have 7 sisters. You do not have a choice. You're just playing Barbies.
You got to play something.
I remember my dad staring at me for a long time. I'm like, what's going on? So I just kept playing. I always played with the Ken doll, and Dad's like, hey, Thomas, come here, son. I want to talk to you. So I'm not joking. We started having once a week, starting that day. We would call them man talks, and
lessons.
Yeah, well, it was literally lessons about masculinity.
Aww.
And here's how you run like a man. Here's how you talk like a man. And he never came in like, oh, I'm so worried about you. And, why are you playing Barbies? And
he didn't throw your Ken doll in the fire.
He did not. He went out and bought me some more Batmans, but yeah, it's like, I will not have a son. But you know what? I look at that and the common sense that Dad had, not to hurt his son,
the gentleness,
not to put in my head like,
there's something wrong.
So what's wrong with you, boy? No, it was just like, okay, well, he hangs out 24 hours a day with 8 women, my mom included. All the time I was with females.
Yeah.
No, he just took it. He never said I could never play Barbies again. He didn't warn against it.
Wow.
He took me and began to teach me. I remember specifically, you don't walk like this, and women do this. And when you talk to women, you look at them in their eyes. And I remember all these
Nice.
specific, just masculine lessons that I look back on, and that was just actually some common sense that
Mm-hmm.
dad had.
Mm-hmm.
First generation Christian, so there were some, things of character and integrity and those things that were built in. But
Yeah.
once again, not just running to, oh, well, my son played Barbie, so he must want to be like all his sisters and run that way. Just,
Mm-hmm.
I think we get ourselves into we can get ourselves into a lot of trouble when we just jump ship like that.
Absolutely. It's so important for Christian parents to, well, any parents really, but of course we speak primarily to a Christian audience, to remember that this is all fixable and not a problem if you use leadership and guidance in your parenting. Don't,
Right.
I love what you said about common sense.
Mm.
Listen, your kids are so moldable, especially, before 10 years old, but even up to their teen years. Your love and your approval and your, leadership in their lives is the most important thing. Their gender will be solidified. They will not be confused as long as you're not confused.
Right.
When you start getting confused on their behalf and you start listening to all this out there that is just white noise, and taking every little thing and having to take hormones and change genders because you like, a certain color or a certain toy or all this, if you're letting that get to you, they will follow suit.
Yeah.
They will follow your confusion. If you are solid in, I love what your dad did.
Mm.
I love that he didn't come in and freak out and throw all the Barbies away and yell at your mom. Why are you letting them play? Like, and there was a day and age when that took place. And now we're kind of pulling the other way where parents have zero opinion about what their kids do. They just let them decide everything.
Yeah.
No, step in, be the leader, but lead gently and lead from a place of clarity and conviction and not from a place of confusion.
Yeah.
And I think that's half the battle right there, honestly.
That's good.
Maybe more than that.
I love that, Karen. So good. So what's you want to talk about maybe kind of working together, communication, kind of the flexibility of all of this, especially when it comes into a marriage. We spoke on in our last episode that there is communication that needs to be key, especially with husband and wife, because once again, we put ourselves into this kind of narrow-minded box of you're supposed to have this role, I'm supposed to have this role, and if one starts to infringe on the other, something's wrong. And we don't have to.
Yeah.
We use the illustration of, I help you with the downstairs. I don't like to do laundry, but I do like to help clean and keep floors clean, and I'll load a dishwasher and stuff. And you said that was for sure not the example that you were given with your dad or with my dad. And then the example of we both had moms that really did not work out of the home, and yet you do, and you have, you're an office manager. And so both of those, I feel like if you're not careful, you won't be able to cope with that very well if you had the upbringing that you're kind of, hey, this is how life is supposed to be. And if it moves outside that box, my whole world is crashing down. So how do you feel like, Carrie, we have communicated with each other when those roles that used to be so specific and so narrow have kind of intertwined a little bit with each other, and not in a bad way?
I think it's been a learning process. I think we've communicated well in our phases of life, and when things change, we do have those conversations.
Sure.
And it's important. It's important, women, for you to communicate with your husband on how you're feeling. I know I have a couple of friends that are very business minded. They're extremely intelligent business women. They make a lot of money. They work really hard. But I will tell you, they are some of the best mothers I have ever seen. They're some of the best wives I've ever seen. And it's because their husbands have supported what they want to do, whether it's working from home, starting a business on Etsy, flipping houses, you know, doing an MLM, like whatever their job is, their husband has been kind and supportive. But then the opposite is true. There have been times when I've said, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you go here? This ladies retreat, this or that or whatever. And they've said, I can't. Like my kids need me. I've got
Mm-hmm.
stuff with the kids. And they are still like amazing mothers and amazing Christians. And
Right.
so I think that flexibility there, you know, sometimes you're going to work hard, sometimes you're going to, you know, really, really mother a lot and mother hard. And then there's other times that you're going to do, you know, work on your marriage, take
Right.
time out for your
Right.
marriage. And all of those are okay. And
Mm-hmm.
having that strength of mind to say, what is my life stage? And of course, most importantly, what does God want me to do right now?
Mm-hmm.
And I know there have been times where I've wanted to do things
Right.
and I've said, I want to do this so bad, but I know it's not God's timing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not there yet. Some verses that really encourage me are the ones in, I should have looked up the reference. I think there's Second Timothy, where I believe Paul's writing to the church and says, and is admonishing women and how their roles should be fulfilled within that culture. And
Mm-hmm.
it was stating, you know, to be good. And being good was a big important thing, like having good works
Right.
and to obey and to love your husband inside the home. And then he ends it by saying, keepers at home. And I love that phrase. I love that phrase, keepers at home, because it sounds like, to me, when I think of a keeper, I think of like Tommy's soccer games
Mm-hmm.
where, you know, the goal, they're called a keeper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Please let that be right. Yeah, they're called a keeper. But I love that. Like I envision that, like to be a keeper at and in and within the people in my home. I'm that watcher. You know, I'm ready for anything that might come at my family. And that's just neat. Like that's a blessing to have that. And I know we've kind of taken that in our Christian realm and made it like this subservient, you know, dishwasher at home. Like, oh, you're to be a keeper at home. You do the housework and you do this. And that's not really what that's saying there. A keeper is somebody that protects the home emotionally, somebody
Mm-hmm.
that helps protect the home spiritually,
Right.
somebody that helps protect. And yes, it obviously you keep the actual home, the physical home, but even that's such a beautiful thing. I wouldn't want to be known as someone who doesn't keep my home.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that communication comes in when you understand that the role you've been given to be good within your home, to obey and love your husband within your home, to keep your home. Those are all beautiful blessings.
Yeah.
Those are positive things. And if we can take that mindset and shift it from this subservient role
Mm-hmm.
as, you know, oh, I have to do this, and switch it over to I get to be this.
Yeah.
That's just an awesome thing.
So, I it's so beautiful too because we always take what works in the home, what is beautiful, that it's just right, and we always try to make it just what you were saying.
Yeah.
We've muddied it by thinking, oh, it's a keeper at the home is just that. You do the dishes, you make sure the husband is fine when he gets home. We've added so much to what God made so just clean and pure,
Yeah.
including the leadership of the home for the man.
Mm-hmm.
We've almost made it, like you said, subservient. Where, look, woman, you follow me and you do as I say, and that's just a helpmeet is not that at all. It's someone
Mm-mm.
who comes alongside, and we are a team in this thing called marriage. And
Mm-hmm.
for Carrie and I, we didn't get this overnight, man. We've put a lot of prayer and time and effort and work into our marriage, because we learn from others, we learn from the mistakes of others, but then we watch others who have happy marriages. And for me, I've always wanted to own my role, Care,
Mm-hmm.
as a provider for this home, and the man of this house, and a protector of this house, and a warrior. And
Mm-hmm.
you're my girl, and I'm going to protect you, and I love you. And but then also, what I think has helped me is you have been extremely encouraging towards the leadership style that I have.
Yeah.
And um, I think, for if a woman is listening out there, just hear me out. But for a man, we want that security. We love to feel like we are the man, we are the leader. And Carrie has been so good. Are you checking a text message?
I wanted to look up that passage because I
Okay.
knew Second Timothy was
I
wrong.
thought I'll send you
Sorry.
on Instagram.
I just wanted to add that in before we stop, but I'm
So,
listening.
I'm sure you are,
Yeah.
little girl.
Leadership style, something.
Yeah, see how encouraging my wife is? Wow.
I'm there for you, baby.
But anyways, for the woman that's listening out there, a man loves to have that encouragement, and you do such a great job of we've never had an argument, honestly, of like, I don't trust the decision you're making, or I don't think you're making this decision right, because we make those decisions together.
That's so
I
true.
lead our home, but then there is like, when I lead well, Carrie often is like, man, I so appreciate you did this for our family.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking care of us. Thank you. You're just very appreciative of it. And for a man, once again, it's our innate nature. Like, oh, we did that well. We're gonna lead well. It's not this, hey, the husbands are up here and the wives are under us. No, we've got roles, and I know part of mine is I'm a protector of this home. I'm a provider of this home. I'm a spiritual leader of this home. And the world is trying to tell all of us that's wrong, and that's how can you treat a female like that? And everyone's equal. And again, we've got to get back to, when you do it God's way, it actually is so beautiful in the way that it works.
Yes.
And for me, I love. Last week you said you were so proud to be feminine. Well, let me just tell you, I'm thankful that you are feminine. I love that my wife looks like a woman and acts like a woman. I love that I'm stronger in some things. And I love that you're more intellectual in some things, and that you're better with kids in areas. And that's not it. When the home works, it's not this, jealousy. We're supposed to be equal. No, it actually really works. And for you and for me, it brings us closer together, because now we're not separate teams trying to do this on our own. We're a marriage, and we communicate, and you own your role that God gave you, and I own my role that God gave me.
Yeah.
And we come together, and it complements each other so well.
Right. And something that has helped me to get straight in my mind is that equality doesn't mean you have to be the same. A woman trying to act like a man does not make her equal with one. And a man trying to act like a woman does not make him equal with one.
Right.
Equality means you both accept your value in what you are.
Right.
And that's an awesome thing. There are so many things that men can do that I'm not even going to try. Don't want to try. Go for it.
Name one.
All those hard jobs out there, something with electricity. How do we have this many houses with electricity? I can't comprehend that. They have to climb those poles and go up there. I could not. All the infrastructure things to keep our America going, and there's so much hard work out there I just won't ever do. I can't. I'm too small.
We were talking
I don't
with,
like any
with
of
a couple this week, and I made the statement. And if it was up to men to have babies, well, it would have been Genesis 1.
We're done.
Genesis 2 would not have existed.
No. Would
have been done. Genesis 3, 4, no, none of that would have been there.
If I could have another baby right now, I would. That doesn't seem difficult to me.
Please, we can. We got to change the subject. We're not having another baby, girl.
I just think it's like we have to stop viewing equality as being like someone else.
Yeah.
That doesn't make you equal with them. Being equal is that you take what you are and make it the best of its ability.
Yeah.
And there's some people that are really good at some things and other people that are good at others. So be the best that you are.
Yeah.
And that value God gives us all value. We're all the same in his eyes as far as value. He loves us all the same. And so that's a beautiful thing to say, hey, God made me this way. I might not be good at that, but I'm going to take the way he did make me, no matter my gender, and be the very best I can be.
I love it. I love it. Well, I hope this has helped y'all as we've kind of dug into this whole gender idea. And again, there's a lot of other topics and subjects that you can deep dive into, but we just just kind of want to give the surface of it is okay to own who you are, and you don't have to get in a box and jealous and mad and push this way. You can work as a team, and if you're not married, start working on these things now and start communicating. And then once again, if your parents out there, you don't have to get in a panic. Everybody wants you to be in a panic that you have to fit this mold, you have to follow this way. It's not. Learn your child, learn who they are, use some common sense, get some help in areas like this. See a spiritual leader and a guidance coach that can help you through these moments of your kid's life where they're hearing a lot in school and on YouTube and TikTok, and they're being influenced just as you and I are. And so make sure the number one influence you have in your life is the Word of God, and follow it. And when you do that, truly it works. Any closing remarks, Karen?
Yeah, I wanted to say that reference was Titus 2:3-5. If anybody wants to look that up, because I definitely butchered that. My bad.
It's okay.
It's Titus.
Well, hey, thanks
have a great
for
week,
tuning
everybody.
in. Yes, we will see you next week.